Hey there, in this tutorial you learn to create this thrilling platform game in Godot with levels, coins, a player you can control, enemies to stomp, level transition, and a whole lot more. Bruh. We'll dwell on these three topics: inheritance, which enables us to inherit from objects and scenes to craft reusable code; components, which provide the ability to construct entities; and finally, we'll work on a basic enemy AI that switches behavior whenever it detects the player. This is an intermediate level tutorial. I assume you possess a fundamental understanding of GD script and Godot's foundation elements such as node and signals to get the best out of this tutorial. You can find the startup project file in my GitHub repository, link in the description below. You want to open your Godot editor, click import, then browse and navigate to where you kept the project file. Click on start project.godot and import and edit. Okay, so now I'm on my 2D scene, and if you were to check your files tab, you should see a bunch of folder with one labeled asset that contains our project. First, let's head over to our project setting, and I'm going to implement tab, and I'm going to assign some input action for our player. Right, move left, move right, and finally jump. Now I'm going to add their events. Press the left key, then A, next up is right, and D, then finally space to jump. Now you could also add a joystick control, but I don't have a pad with me to test out. So I'm going to head over to our window, set stretch mode to canvas item, leave aspects to keep, textures, and set this to nearest our 2D physics layer. First, I'm going to write our environment, player, enemy, and danger. This danger layer is going to be for our object like spikes, whatever object that are dangerous. Then a player and enemy HurtBox, which we'll use for damage detection. Okay, let's start with our level, and I'm just going to explain this real quick so you could understand on how you can create and design yours. Okay, so first off, I'm going to add a node 2D, then a tile map, which we're going to add our tile set and use to draw our level. Okay, let me just close this real quick. And if you were to go to your asset folder, on the tiles, you see a tileset.png file. Create a new tileset. Then you can drag your tileset image. Click yes. Now you can see all the tile sprites we can use to draw our level. Then if you head to your tile map, you can draw your level. You can also paint collision layer so our player has a floor he can stand on. Add elements so our player has a floor he can stand on. You can also add multiple layers like background and foreground. Let me just type this real quick and add another element and name this to foreground. Okay, cool. Now you can paint your background on top of a 2D world. Then you could switch the current layer to foreground and just paint it on top of your background. Okay, now I'm going to close this scene because I already have a tileset resource which you can find in the asset folder. And you can just add your tileset. Let me just set that up real quick and drag your tileset, and you could use to draw your level. Now to speed things up, you could check the level folder which I've already designed a level for you, which we're going to use to test out our gameplay and also work on our level transition, which we'll work on that later. Now create a new scene and add a character body to the tier scene. And rename this to player. I'm going to add an animated sprite 2D. Then collision shape. Okay, cool. I'm going to add a sprite frame and a new animation for each of our sprite animation in our player asset folder, which you should see if you go to our character asset and player. Rename this to I do, and I'm going to add 3 more new animation. Rename this to jump. You need to run and hurt. Now I'm going to click the first image of our ideal animation, hold shift, and boom. I'm going to add a new animation for our player when our player is falling. And default animation is the last sprite under our jump asset. I'll just do this for the rest of our animation. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a bit. Let me just set this well. And I'm going to change the animation speed, let's say to maybe 8. Okay, maybe a bit more, let's say 9. Now, do I need to change this forward? Oh no, just reset that back. Okay, let's see the run, set this to 9. And okay. I'm just going to set my animation to I do. And add a capsule shape for our sprite. Now I'm just going to resize and adjust this properly so it covers our sprite. Then make sure the capsule end at its feet. I'm going to save this in a folder. Create a new folder and name this to actor. Click save, and yeah. Head over to script, new script, rename this to actors, and this will inherit from the character body 2D node. What am I doing? And yeah, I'll save this in the actors folder. Nope, wrong place. And yeah, I'll just get rid of most of all this code. Cool. I'm going to change this to an export variable. Let me just zoom in a bit. Move speed. Set its type as a float. I'll get rid of this. We don't need it. And this I'm going to change to an export too. Maybe 50. Cool. Next off, I'm going to add a function which is going to be overridable by the player and enemy, which is it's a damage function and is going to receive a damage amount parameter. Now this is going to return a void, and in the function body, I'm just going to type pass. Okay, now that's done, let's work on our player script. And this script will inherit, or in other words, extend from our actor script. You need to add that to the script. So as you can see, I'll just click the inherit button. And great. Now I'm just going to add a class to name this. Class name player. I'm going to add a signal game over, though I'm not really certain we might actually work on this tutorial. An export for our jump. I'm going to hold control and drag this. And lastly, our player's health. and max health. Next, we're going to add a physics process function, and we're going to declare a variable direction, which we'll use to get if our player is holding the left or right move key. We'll then see if our player is not on the floor and add gravity to its y velocity. Multiply this by delta. Okay, cool. We'll then check if our player pressed the jump key and make sure it's on the floor. And minus from that. We then want to check if our player is pressing a key and move to that direction, else we'll slow down the player. Lastly, we'll call our move and slide. So as you can see, everything is pretty similar to the platformer script Godot adds for you. I'm going to instance our player on our level 1 scene now. I'm going to reposition this. Yeah. Now let me change its move speed and its gravity. Then I'm going to add a camera 2D to our scene. Then as a child of our player, a remote transform 2D. I'm going to assign the camera. Now let me just zoom in a bit. Maybe change the zoom to 3. Now let's test out our scene. Okay, cool. Everything is working as expected. Let's give our player more life and add some animation. You just want to play the jump animation whenever the player velocity is less than 0. But if it's greater than 0, we want to play our fall animation. Now let's write that real quick. Just want to play our fall if our velocity dot y is greater than 0. Let me just indent this line. Yeah. So greater than 0, else we want to play jump. Then else meaning our player is on the floor, and if the direction is placed, we want to play the run animation, else the idle. So play run if direction, else then idle. Okay, I'll just save that and run our scene again. Works. Just need to update the player facing direction. Let's say jump, fall, yeah. Now let's update our player's facing direction wherever he presses the key. I'm just going to create a function update facing direction, and this is going to return a void. Then I'm just going to say if our velocity dot yx is greater than 0, then animated sprite dot flip horizontally is equals to false. And we'll say else if velocity dot x is less than 0, we say animated sprite 2D dot flip equals true. Ooh. Now, if we were to run our scene again, okay, so something's wrong. Let me check that out. Oh, we forgot to call our function. So call it play. So our character faces left, right. Whenever I move, jump works perfectly. Cool. Now we have a very simple and basic platform character. So you could just play with that and join me in the next part of this tutorial. Welcome back, and in this part of the tutorial we'll be working on the HitBox and HurtBox components for our player and enemy. So we want to add an area 2D. I'm going to rename this to HitBox Component. Now this HitBox is what we're going to use to deal damage to either our player or our enemy. And I'm going to toggle off monitoring because our hitbox is monitorable and is going to be detected by our hotbox. So I'm going to collision and I'm going to toggle off both the player and layer and input pick here. I'll save that, create a new folder, call this components. I forgot the S. Just going to rename that. So with the S, and yeah. Now I'm going to add a script to it. I'm going to say class name, hitbox, and this is just going to export damage value. So this is what the amount of the damage you want to deal to either your player or your enemy. Create a new area 2D and rename this to HurtBox. So HurtBox component. Okay, and our HurtBox, I'm going to add a collision shape, a timer. Okay, so go to HurtBox, and our HurtBox is going to be monitoring for our hitbox, but it's not monitorable. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to go to collision and toggle those off. Input, yeah. And go to timer and I'll set this one shot and set wait time to 0.8 and save that component and save. Attach a script, drag my collision shape, control drag, and my timer. Cool. Then I'm going to declare function ready, and I'm going to connect our area entered signal. So area entered and on body entered. Yeah. Now I'm going to say timer dot timeout. Connect that to invisibility timer timeout. For is whenever we receive damage, we want our collision to be disabled for some seconds. Okay, so I'm going to create our own body entered function. So on body entered, and it's going to receive a HitBox parameter. Going to specify step at HitBox, and we're going to say if the owner of this object has the method take damage, which is in our actor script, then we want to say invisibility or invisible so we want to say invisible underscore start, then we want to say owner dot take damage and we're going to pass our hitbox damage value as an argument. Cool. Now let me just copy that, and we're going to say invisibility timeout. We will say our collision shape dot disabled is equals to false, and I'll say our invisible dot start so fix that. Dot set deferred to true, and we're going to start our timer. Okay, save that, and I'm going to head to our player and instance both the hitbox and hotbox. So our hitbox and finally our HurtBox. Okay, I'm going to set the collision layer of our hitbox to layer 5, and for the HurtBox I'm going to set its max to 6, and then our player is going to Going to remove that from the environment to player and set this max as environment. Okay, now let me go to our hitbox. Okay, let me go to our sprite and change this to idle. And our hitbox, I'm going to add a collision shape. So collision shape, and I'm just going to add a rectangle, and let me just resize this. Okay, and drag. Let me reset its position so 0, 0, and cool. Now I'm going to resize it to the feet of our player. So just zoom in there. Yeah. Cool. It is okay. I'm just going to modulate this so it stands out. And dark red. No. Right. Okay. I'm also going to add a collision shape to our HurtBox and collision shape, and this is going to be a capsule, and I'm just going to adjust this to the size of our player. Just want to make sure the collision shape covers your sprite. Going to modulate these two. Okay, I think we do. Okay, cool. Now let's work on a spike that can deal damage to our player. Just going to clear this all up. I'm going to create a new scene, and our spike is going to be a static body 2D, just like that, and going to rename this to base spike. Okay, then I'm going to instance our hitbox, because we want our spike to deal damage to our player and enemy. Go to collision, and I'm going to set its layer to both the player and enemy hurt box. Okay, cool. Let's see. And I'll set our spike to the danger layer. That is layer 4. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to save this and create a new folder. I'm going to call this props. Another folder, I'll call this spikes. Okay, save that and create a new scene. And this is going to inherit from our base spike. And in our assets folder, if you go to props, you'll see 3 spike. So the skull, bottom, and top, we're going to do for each of them. Let's start with the bottom spike. So going to rename this to spike button. Cool. Then I'm going to add a sprite 2D. I think we should have done that and add it to the base. So just add that, drag that up. Okay, save that, and yeah. So now I'm going to drag our sprite button. Cool. Now let's add a collision shape to our hitbox, and then our shape is going to be a rectangle, and I'm just going to resize this to the spike. Cool. Now let me just modulate this. Okay, let's adjust this. Yeah. Now think let's add a collision shape for our sprites too. Now you could just resize this to however you want. So just going to draw like that, and I'm probably going to just change. Yeah, cool. Now let's do this for the rest of our spikes. So inherit from base spike. Spike top. Okay. Drag that. Okay. Now I'm going to add a collision shape. New rectangle shape 2D. Resize that too. Okay. Just drag that to our hitbox, and let's change the color. Going to add a collision shape for the spike top, new shape rectangle. Okay, save. And lastly, let's work for the spike score. So this is just the same. You could probably do that and skip ahead of this video. Um, and if you will find this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps this channel. Let's add a sprite, the collision shape, sorry, to the hitbox and resize that. Okay, save that. um let me just change this color. Oh, that looks cool. Okay, let's add a collision shape. I'm going to do this real quick. And yeah, cool. Now we have some spike. Now let's add this to our level scene. Close of that. Probably just leave the player. Going to open up our level 1 tile map and going to add a new scene collection. We want to open our spike. So go to your prop spike, select this 3, and nope, this is not it. Let me just delete that. Oh, Control Z. See that you. Oh, thank God. Okay, just delete that. Yeah. Now drag this. Okay, cool. Now we could go to our tile map and just paint our spike. Just let me just adjust this. Zoom in a bit. Okay. Now I'm trying to see that let me just click on tile map. Yeah. So could place this. Now cool. So you could see our spike isn't placed well. You just need to adjust that on the spike scene. And we're just going to move the spike Y position downwards. That is just add, let's say 3. That should be okay. And let's check that. Cool. Now you could see our spike is on the floor. Think what we should work on now is seeing if our player can take damage. So I'm just going to our player script and I'm going to override the take damage function from the actor script. By the way, if you want to learn more on inheritance, I have this amazing tutorial and I'll leave that in the link in the description below. Okay, now, so I'm just going to print just player was hurt. Okay, cool. Now let's test this out. And I'm just going to run to our spike. And yeah, cool. So our player was hurt. See, that works perfectly. I'm just try this. And yeah, okay, that's awesome. So we have our spike working, our player working. Everything is cool. Jump on that. Okay, now let's close this. And what we're going to do now is to reset the position of our other spikes. So you could skip ahead or join me as I work on this. So I'm going to press spike score, and I'm going to just change its position so it's placed well on our map. Okay, now let me just add okay, the layer for our background. So we need to add that. Let's go to layers, which name this as background. Oh, not foreground, sorry. And our foreground. Cool. I'm going to set this to foreground and draw our spike skull and draw out. Cool. That is placed perfectly. And test that out scene now. They runs, jump. Okay. And you see our player is hurt. Cool. Okay, welcome back, and in the last part of our tutorial, we worked on a hitbox and HurtBox component, which we then attached our hitbox to a spike to deal damage to our player. And now what we want to work on is a background, a Parallax background, to make our game look more amazing and exciting. And I'm not really going to be explaining much on this because I already have a tutorial. So if you're interested, I'm going to leave a link in the description and you could just check that out. And you're going to learn a lot of amazing stuff. So you should, definitely check that out. Okay, now let's work on our background. Just going to drag the back, toggle off center. Pretty cool. Okay. Now let me just scale it a little bit and change its mirroring. So if you want to understand what those two were for, you could just check out that link in the description. Okay, this looks amazing, super clean. Now let's work on the back. Going to add a parallax layer. We name these two hues. Right to the drag this, toggle center. Yeah, I'm going to reposition this. Okay, switch our region. Change its height to maybe 400, 500 should do. Yeah, okay, and just drag. Cool. Now I'm just going to rename this to hill 1, and let me just duplicate this a couple of times. This just got confusing. Okay, let me just delete that and drag out hill 2. Okay, and duplicate that, drag, snap perfectly. Cool. Duplicate that again and drag. Okay, nice. Duplicate that one more and I'll delete hill 8. Now let's reposition hill 7. Okay, cool. Now going to change its scale value to, let's say, a 0.8 and mirror it. Okay. Okay, now that's cool. I'm going to save this now. Create a new folder, user interface, and save. I'm going to instance this on our level scene. Wow, now this looks amazing. We have our background, our player, our spikes, everything looks awesome. Okay, welcome back, and in this part of the tutorial we'll begin on our enemy. But first off, we want to work on one more component, which is going to be our AttackBox component, which we're going to use to detect when our player is in range of the enemy. So I've added an area 2D. I'm going to rename this now to AttackBox Component. Then our attack box is monitoring. So monitoring the player, not monitorable. And I'm going to change its layer to layer 2 for player. Okay. Going to add a new script and save this. Cool. Now let me save my thing here. Now I'm going to declare two signals. Signal chase begun, and I'm going to pass a direction, which is going to be the facing direction of our player. Then lastly, signal chase ended. So when our enemy or our player is out of range of the enemy. Cool. Now let me just connect the body entered and existed signal. Okay, wait. Then I'm going to create a function which is going to be used, which is going to return if the object being passed is a player. So node is player. Cool. Now I'm going to say if is player, the body, pass that as an argument. Then we want to start chasing our player. So I'm going to say our body dot global position dot x from that the player. Oh, so the player position from our own position. Self dot global position dot x, and I'm just going to use a sign. So this is going to return this as a -1, a 0, or 1, depending on wherever our player is facing. And a more practical approach will be to pass the body as an argument. Then in your player or your enemy script, you just get the direction and move towards it. You could probably do that, but I think I'll just stick to just passing the direction. So now let's make the end signal cool. Okay, then I'm going to create a new script which is going to inherit from an animated body 3D. I said 2D, sorry. And this, let me create a folder, and I'm going to call this effects. This is our effects for like our coin and enemy. You know, for our enemy, when we stomp on our enemy, what we want to play, and our coin too. So inherit from an animated body 2D. Click that and create. Cool. Now I'm going to say animated finished dot connect. Going to connect this to and on animated finished. Then let me just create that. So function on animated finished, turn the void, and we want to say Q3. Cool. Then I'm going to say play, animate. Okay. Now let's work on the enemy death effect. So rename this to enemy death effect. And I'm going to add a new sprite frame. Going to rename this to animate. So you have to make sure it's the same name with whatever you wrote in the script. Set loop, and I'm going to drag and just select this. So this is our enemy death effect. Zoom in on that, and I'm going to play the animation. Okay, let me just change the speed to 7. Test that out again. Okay, cool. Now I'm just going to save this in our effects folder. Click save, and I'm going to do one for our coin. So animate a sprite, going to rename this to item feedback effect. Okay, and I'm going to attach the script. So our base effect script and load. Save this and just add that for the enemy death effect too. Okay. Go back to our item. Going to add a new sprite frame and toggle off loop. Okay, so rename this to animate, and I'm going to change the speed to 7. Cool. Let's test this out. Forward maybe too fast. Back to 5. And okay, this cool with me. Okay, I'll go to script and just close all this, and I'm going to create a new script which is for our enemy. Let me actors, create a new folder, enemies, and going to base enemy. And this is going to inherit from our actor script. Cool. Leave that to empty and create. Okay, now enemy is pretty easy. First off, what we want to do is to declare a class name enemy. Then we're going to write an export variable, more points. Though we ain't going to use this in this video, but I'll just like to write that. Then going to say const enemy death effect, which is what we created earlier. And just going to put this on all caps. Then preload. Let's search for our enemy effect. Go to our folder, drag this. Okay, cool. And now I'm going to create a function die. So when our enemy is dead, and I'm going to say queue free, and going to say create enemy death effect. Say create enemy death effect, return the void, and I'm going to create a variable, the enemy death effect, which we're going to instantiate our const enemy death effect. Write that quick dot instantiate, and I'm going to say get parent dot add enemy death effect, and I'm going to set its position, so it's global position, to our global position. So cool. Okay, now we're done, and let's start working on the part some of you might be waiting for, and that's our enemies. Okay, creating new scene, and we're going to add a character body to D, and we'll just rename this to an Opossum. Is that how they pronounce that? Um so yeah, so you can see, then just rename this now. Cool. And I'm going to add an animated sprite 2D. Add that, and also a collision shape. Cool. Now I'm going to save this in our enemies folder. Save that. And now I'm going to create a new sprite frame for our opossum. The new sprite frame, and as you can see, our opossum just has one animation. Let me just try to find out word. let's say move. Okay, now I'm going to select this, drag all this, and let me just zoom in. Okay, or just increase the animation speed, let's say to maybe like 7 should be cool. Okay, now that is pretty cool. What we're going to do now is to instantiate our HitBox, HurtBox, and AttackBox component. So first off is our AttackBox, then our HitBox, and finally our HurtBox. Now I'm going to add a new collision shape to our sprite. So shape rectangle and resize this. Okay, so just make sure the shape ends at the feet, and yeah, I think this is pretty okay. Okay, now let me add a collision shape to our attack box. So collision shape, and this is going to be a rectangle, and I'm just going to increase this to how long we want our Opossum range to be. So you could increase this to whatever size you want. Yeah, I think this okay with me. Just boom. Okay. Um, I'm just going to change, modulate the collision shape. Just change its color. Okay, hide that. And add another collision shape. And just zoom in a bit. New rectangle. Just resize this. Cool. Just change its color now. Awesome. Now let's do the same for our HurtBox. And going to add another collision shape, but this one you want it to be above your hitbox, right? So just zoom in there, you can see. Now let me just change this color to yeah, I think it's okay. Cool. Next off, I'm going to add a raycast, which our player is going to use to check if it's hitting the environment. So going to change its target position. Okay, and I'm going to adjust the position to 15. Cool. Now I'm going to rename this to danger detector left. And I'm just going to duplicate this and rename this to danger detector right. Okay, just change its position and cool. Now let's add a script to our enemy. Save this. Everything cool. Okay, add a script and it's going to inherit from our enemy. Set this to empty and create. Okay, now what we want to do is check that our danger max collision max is set to environment. Next off is our opossum. So whenever our opossum is moving to the right, wait, let me just flip this. You could see that our collision and the detector aren't placed well, and we can fix this by adding an animation player. Add that, then we could just change the opossum collision and its detector depending on what direction is moving. You can move right and left, and now switch is to 0.001. Yeah, cool. Just magnify this so you see. And now go back to animation, and we want to add a keyframe. Leave reset to on. And so I'm just going to do this. You could just follow along. Okay, cool. So we have our Opossum. So now move left. You can see move right. So pretty neat. Now whenever our player is moving left or right, we could just play the animation and the collision shape and ray will be placed perfectly. Now in our script, I'm going to drag this and going to set it to raycast 2D. Cool. Drag this also. I'm also going to need the animated sprite. Lastly, our animation player. Now I'm going to say const walk speed. So we're going to use whenever our player is patrolling, that means he haven't detected the player, and also run speed. So our Opossum just detected the player, we just increase the speed. And also we want to say our frame speed scale, which we're going to use to increase the animation speed as if our player is running, and reduce it by 0.5 if it's just patrolling. Okay, ready function animated sprites 2D dot our speed scale is equals to 1.0, and I'm going to say velocity dot x is equals to our walk speed times -1 if we get a random integer between 1 and 0, else 1. Okay, cool. Now the problem with this is that both danger detector are detected when the game starts, making our Opossum to face the right direction. So you could make use of this code instead, where you specify the direction, and let's continue with our code. Okay, now we want to start on making our enemy chase our player. So what I'm going to do is go to our attack box and signals, connect to the chase began signal. Okay, and going like this, and I'm going to say our animated sprite 2D dot speed scale. I'm going to say plus equals our frame speed scale. So this is just going to increase the speed of the animation, make it so it give us that running effect. And I'm going to say move speed, just increase the speed of the player, is equals to run speed. Then I'm going to say velocity dot x is equals to our new direction times our move speed. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to also connect our chase and the signal, and I'm going to say animated sprite 2D dot speed scale minus equals our frame speed scale. Cool. Now I'm going to say move speed is equals to our walk speed. Now I'm going to add a physics process function. Physics process Then I'm going to say animation player dot play, and we want to play our move right if our velocity dot x is greater than 0. Else we want to play move left. Then I want to say move and slide and add one more function. I will say calculate move velocity, which we're going to define soon. Move velocity. Okay. I'm going to say take damage. Do return a void. Going to put a pass on that. So I'll take damage in our actor. Let me see that. Okay, we're supposed to put our damage amount. Yeah, so cool. Now I'm going to say our form calculate move velocity. So return void. We're going to say if not danger left dot is colliding, and we want to say our velocity dot x is equal to move speed. So that's just going to make you move to the right. And I'm going to say now else if not danger detector right dot is colliding, okay, I would say velocity dot x is equals to a negative move speed. And I'm just going to say if our player, so just in case we have a wall, if our player is on wall, we want to say velocity dot x is equals to get wall normal dot x times move speed. Okay, cool. Okay, save that and let's go back to our level, and we want to instance our Opossum. So that, and I'm going to drag it right here. Okay, cool. Let's run our scene. Oh, okay. So we need to, okay, let me go back to my Opossum, and I'm going to change his move speed to 50. Okay, now that's done. Let's go back and run our scene. Okay, seems like it worked. And we have to take care of Super Opossum. As you can see, it's just flying, and we gotta add gravity to it. So let's go back, and in our script on the physics process, going to say if not on floor, then we add gravity. Okay, now we're done. Let's save that. Head back to the scene. And okay, cool. No more Superman. Okay. So we got our puzzle. Let's see if okay, cool. So it chases us whenever we reach its attack range. And now we will need to work on its damage. So whenever it moves around, the spikes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to our puzzle, and I'm going to change its layer to our enemy layer, that is layer 3, and its max, we leave set that to environment, and head over to levels, and let's test that out. Okay, so we'll need to go back to our take damage of our enemy. And I'm going to print taking damage. Okay. Now I'm going back to my player, and I'm going to put a pass here. I don't want that to print, just comment that out. And let's see if this works. Hopefully. So now we'll need to go to our attack box, and I'm going to check hitbox, and I'm going to set its layer to layer 6, and for our HurtBox, I'm going to set its max to 5. Okay, cool. Let me just confirm and HRC. Let's test that out again. And oh, still doesn't work. Okay. And now I'm getting the problems probably coming from our collision shape. So I'm just going to drag this. Okay, just going to leave some space. You want to leave a dilute distance between your hitbox and hotbox. That is your hitbox and hotbox collision. Okay, now some little space there too. Okay. So we need to go to our animation player too. And we do all those stuff probably. Delete that. Move left. Okay. Going to delete going to change its Y position 4, maybe 7, 6.5. I think that's cool. Now let's go. Okay, so you see our HurtBox. Let's go to our move right. Also change that. So make sure it's HurtBox. And going to delete that. .5, cool. I could probably leave that, since it's just facing the front, we could probably leave it like that. And make sure create reset is set on, or I mean off, sorry. Okay, just go back to animation player and confirm. Okay, pretty cool. Set that to reset, and hopefully this works. And no. Okay, let me just quickly search. Think. Should probably. Oh, okay. So think here. This should be why. I thought I said that. Okay. Let's just head back to our scene again and we'll test this out. Okay. Yeah, now cool. So you see our Opossum takes damage whenever he reaches the spikes. Okay, awesome. And now we have to make our Opossum avoid this spike, so it doesn't look stupid. And that's actually pretty easy to do. First off, let's go to our danger detector left, and we're going to set its collision max to danger. Cool. I'll do that for danger detector right too. And save. Okay, close through, and just going to spike. I'm going to make sure its layer is set for, and go to our Opossums script, and I'm going to say, or if our danger detector left is colliding and our danger detector right or left does get collider is spike. So and just all need to go to our spike, add the script. Okay, pretty cool. Create, and I'm going to say delete this, class name spike. Save. Cool. Is spike. Wait, copy that. Do this for the other one. danger detector right, and danger detector right. Okay, save that. Going to our level, run this, and okay, seems it works. Yeah, so pretty cool, right? Our Opossum avoid the spike. And now what I want to do is to add our, die animation. That is our die function. Okay, run that. And if I stomp on our enemy, you see it plays our die animation. So pretty cool. And his enemy is no longer in our scene. Whenever our opossum runs straight to us, you see our opossum die. So we need to work on that. In your HurtBox component script, you're going to pass the hitbox as an argument. And if we go to our actor script, we're also going to pass the body as a parameter. And let's head over to our opossum, and we're going to check if the body is greater than our own HurtBox global position, which means that the is below us, then we return. Else, if we're above us, then we play die. Welcome back, and in this section of this tutorial we're going to be working on our last enemy AI, which is our frog. So I'm going to create a new scene and add a character body 2D. Okay, rename this to frog. Going to save this in our enemies folder. Okay, I'm going to add an animated sprite 2D, then a collision shape, and okay, and now I'm going to instance our attack box, our hitbox, and our HurtBox, so you can really see how useful these components are when developing your games. Okay, now going to add a timer, and this will be used for like the cooldown whenever our frog finish jumping, because we don't want it to jump immediately. Going to add an animated sprite, rename this to I do. Okay, now I'm going to add frog, and you can see the I do folder, and we also have the jump, and this one we use for the fall. Okay, now go to the I do and set this to the start animation and drag. Yeah, super cool. Okay, I'm also going to duplicate the first animation right here, so it has more time before it does that stuff with his throat. I don't know. Okay, duplicate a couple of times, and okay, let's test that out. Okay, so you see, super cool. Now just paste there one more time. Yeah, take this hits. Okay, now let me just add its jump and one more for its one more for when it's falling. We'll just rename that and fall. Okay. Head with photo. Drag. Yep. And drag. Cool. Now going to add a collision shape, rectangle. Just going to make sure that touches its feet. Yeah. Now a collision shape for the attack box. Make that circle. Okay. Add another one. And this is going to be a rectangle. Fit box. Just change its color. Cool. Going to, yeah. Awesome. Now let me add another one for its HurtBox. Just drag that to probably its eye and yellow. Super cool. Okay. And you could do the same thing like we did for the Opossum, where you add an animation player and you adjust its collision shape whenever it's jumping or falling. Then also you could add a raycast so that your frog don't jump off a hill. But I'm just going to leave that to you guys. Don't want to make this tutorial too long. Okay. Okay, I'm going to drag my animated price, the timer. Going to rename this to cool timer. Yeah. And set its wait time to 0.6. I think that's okay. Turn on the one shot. Okay. Okay. Specify its type as an animated spy 2D. Also do this for, yeah. Okay. Now going to export our jump. So for the frog, is jump impulse. I'm going to say 40.0 and declare a variable attack enemy. This is going to be bool. So whenever our frog is to attack enemy, yeah. Then also a variable just jumped. I think this one is self-explanatory. And one direction is going to be an int. Okay, going to connect the chase begun and chase ended. Now going to say direction is equals to new direction, and our attack enemy with equals to true, and going to say update facing direction. Okay, so it's going to turn void and going to say if direction is greater than 0, then we want our animated sprite dot flip horizontally equals to true. Then else if our direction is less than 0, we'll set our flip animated sprite to false. The attack enemy was false, and we need to declare our physics process. And I'm going to call a function update animation. Okay, then I'm going to say jump jump chase movement, clear another function, and call our move and slide. Okay, and I'm going to say if just jumped and our cool timer is stopped and is on floor, so that means our frog just finished jumping. I'm going to say velocity is equal to vector2.0 because I want like a little bit of weight before the frog jumps again. Okay, I'm going to declare a new function, going to be our update animation. Okay, then if our velocity dot y is greater than 0, then I'm going to say animate sprite 2D dot play our I do, and I'm going to say if is on floor, I want to play our jump. Okay, no, that might be a little bit confusing. So I mean our floor. Okay, going to release some space and we paste that. going to say if our attack enemy is true and is on floor and not jumped. Then I'm going to say our velocity is equals to vector 2 dot, sorry, I meant direction times the move speed. And I'm going to say a minus jump, so that's going to make our frog to jump. And I'm going to say animated sprite 2D dot play our jump animation. Now I'm going to say just jumped is equals to true. Okay, going to connect the timeout, and at the end of our timeout, I'm going to say our just jump, meaning our frog is done cooling. I'm going to say just jump is equals to false. Copy all this and move that. Okay, just cut that and paste all that up. Nice. Okay, now go to our inspector. I'll change its wait time to probably like 2 seconds, so we could really see. Now going to instance our frog, and I'll just drag it right here. Okay, now just drag our player, and so you can see our animation is playing. Pretty cool. Oh, wow. We'll have to work on that. Okay. um I think the problem should be from the move speed, so I'm going to change that. Also, one more thing we need to do is to go back to the script and add gravity to the frog, because you saw the frog didn't fall down, just kept on flying like Superman. So I'm just going to say if not is a flaw, then I add gravity. So velocity, the y loss equals gravity times delta. And add that to our puzzle too. Okay. Now let's test this out again. And now, oh, what's wrong? Um, let's see. Probably it should be from its collision. So change that to enemy. Leave it on max 1. Attack box is okay. HitBox set. Think okay, yeah, layer 6. And the HurtBox is going to be on max layer 5. And is this going to work? Not so sure. Okay, now so the problem should be coming from our animation, and what I'm going to do now is to fix it. So I'll update animation. I'm going to say if our player is on floor, um let me drag that from here. So if he's on floor, yeah, then we want to play, and okay, so we want to play our idle animation. But if the velocity the y is greater than 0, we want to play 4. Okay. Um, let's test that out now. And sweet. So you can see our frogs walk well and it's jumping perfectly. So while it's of range now, okay, now, and there we go. Oh, damn it. But pretty cool because everything works. Just go to our cool timer. I'm going to change its wait time to 0.6. Let's test that out. And yeah, so just immediately jumps, and okay, super cool. I'm just going to change this to 1 point, let's say 4. Now let's just test it out again. And you see, just waits a little bit, and it's very stupid. Well, that's pretty easy. You could just, like I think I said that previously, you just need to pass the target node, that's our player, then it just gets its direction. Okay, now what we want to do is just the take damage function, which is pretty simple. We'll just say take damage, pass an amount parameter, and the body, which is our hitbox. And I'm just going to copy all of this and paste that right here. Okay, now let's test that out. Okay, so our frog jumps. I'm just try. Oh, so it was perfectly. Okay, welcome back to this tutorial, and if you'll be enjoying this so far, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And previously we worked on our frog and our opossum. So our frog jump whenever we enters its attack range, and if we stomp on it, it dies. And yeah, so what we want to work on now is our player health, coins, and other stuff. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'm going to create a new script and create a folder. I'm going to call this autoloads. So you probably know this, and I'm going to rename this script to an on-screen UI. So this is where we're going to store the signals for our players' life, coins, whatever you want to do. So going to declare a signal and say health change. So when our player health change, and this is going to pass two arguments, that is the old health and its new health. Okay. Okay, I think one more, which will be for the max health. Going to declare another signal, say coin collected. Yeah, so going to say, and this is going to just pass a value. Going to declare a variable. This will be our mob score. So I'm not going to use this, but you could if you want. I think I'll just get rid of that. I'll just say total coin. So the number of coin our player is going to pick a level, we could store it here. You could also probably at the end of the game you want to show the score of the enemy is stomped. You could do that if you want. I'm going to create a searcher function for this. So they'll say set equals to zoomed in. This is equals to set total coin. Just going to declare the function. Copy that. Going to pass a value, and this will return a void. Okay, I'm just going to say coin. Sorry, I mean total coin is equals to, plus equals to the value. Okay. Now, just going to head over to project setting, auto load, and we're going to go to the path of our on-screen UI. I'll rename this to event and add. Cool. Now, we'll close this. I'm going to create a new scene, and we're going to start working on our heads-up display, so our user interface. Going to rename this to HUD. We're going to add a horizontal box container. Rename this to HurtBox Container. And coin box. Just, I think coin container is okay. Okay, what I'm just going to do now is to change its layout. So that should be pretty simple. Just zoom in and just drag this. Okay. I'll go to container sizing and set this to shrink and vertical to expand. Okay. Now let me add a texture, right? So I could test this out. Save this in our user interface. Call this cherry. Save and rename this. Going to okay. Now texture red. I'm going to create an animated texture, and this is pretty simple. So, cause if you were to check your asset folder, you see our cherry with its sprite animation. So I would like mine to play some animation on the edge of display. So let me just drag that. So let's drag for each one. And last, drag. Okay, super cool. And as you can see the cherry animation is playing right there. Let me just go to layout and change its custom minimum max to 2020. Yeah, and you can see our cherry animation playing. Going to change its speed scale to 1.5. Nice. Maybe it's continuous sizing. And okay, super cool. Now, for you to duplicate this a couple of times, you could see the way our cherry is feeling. So that called the shrink end we used. So if I were to delete this, so you see it deletes from the front instead of the back, no matter where I delete the cherry. So you can see, and that is pretty cool. Let me just instance that again, add duplicate, so you see, and duplicate. So pretty cool. And let's work on our coin container now. And this should be pretty simple too. I'm going to add a texture red and just going to use a gem. You could pick any sprite you want. I'm going to also add a label and okay, going to the layout, continue sizing and vertical to expand. So scale, layout, I'm going to oh um just keep aspect centered. Yeah. Then this label too. Then just write text here and also set expand for that. Nice. I'm just going to edit our text right here. Let me center that first. Center that too. and add a new label setting. I'm going to change its font, which you can find on the orders in the assets folder. So Kenny Bold. Nice. Let me just increase its size to 32. Okay. And you can add outline, make it look bold. Just increase that. Okay, let me save that. So I'm going to instance our HUD. Let me first add a canvas layer, then instance the HUD. Okay, so you see it's placed perfectly. Okay, super cool. Let me just close this up and test this out. Nice. So I think I'll take visible. Everything's pretty cool. Now I'm going to add a script to our head-up display. And this should be pretty simple. First off, I'm just going to drag this here. Then I'm going to declare a function ready. So event the connect, I'm going to first off connect our heads changed signal. So let me just create a function for that, and we need two parameters, so old health and new health. Oh, sorry, lastly, max health. No, I keep forgetting that. It's going to return void. So I'm going to declare a variable lives left. So I'm just going to get the child count of our HurtBox container, and I'm going to say if our old health is greater than our new health, and if our old health greater than our new health, meaning we lost a life, then we want to remove a cherry from our health. So I'm going to say while our new health is less than lives left and our lives left is greater than 0, I'm going to say our HurtBox container dot remove child HurtBox container dot get child and we're going to say lives left -1. Very cool. Just okay. and I'm going to say lives left -1. You know, I mean, let's say get so else, meaning our new health is greater than our old health. I want to say wow, our lives left is less than new health. Okay, cherry. Um, just going to. You could probably use a pack scene, but I'm just going to use preload the scene right here. I think you should probably use a pack scene for yours. Now we just need to instance our cherry. So health icon does instantiate. I'm going to say HurtBox container dot add child cherry. Nice. Say lies left plus 1 equals 1. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. Now I'm going to our player, and then I'll take damage function. I'm going to call emit our signal, that is our health change signal. So let's me work on that. So I'm going to say our player health minus equals the amount, that's our damage amount. Then I'm going to say our event dot emit signal, and first off we have to add and I also have to do the old health. So you store the old health first. So old health equals to our player's health. So I'll just say old health, player's health, and max health. Max health, cool. Let's test. Cool. So our player takes damage. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. And let's see what we can work on next. I think next off, let's start working on our collectibles. You know, like the player cherry, which you could use for health, and diamonds. So, you know, coins, we could use that as a coin. So first off, I'm going to add an area 2D and going to rename this to base collectables. So going to use for both the cherry and gem, add an animated sprite, and lastly a collision shape. Okay, going to create a new folder, collectibles, and save that. Going to add a script now, and this is pretty simple. First off, I'm going to toggle off the monitorable because we just want to be monitoring for our player, collision with our player. So set the max to player, and going to say class name Collectables. Yeah. Clear icons, item feedback. Going to preload this. So just go to our effect and drag this. Going to declare a function item collected, and it's going to return void. And this is pretty simple. So what I'm just going to do is say Q3. I want to remove that, and I'll say instance. I'm going to declare function instance item feedback. So we're just going to instantiate our item feedback. Let me just copy that, paste, and I'm going to say var item effect is equals to item feedback dot instantiate. Okay, now I'm going to add it to the parent. I'm going to add it as a child of the parent. And lastly, set is global position to our own global position. Okay. Let me just instance our base collectible. I'm going to use this for our cherry. So whenever our player collides with the cherry, we want to, add health to the player. And if our player already has his max health, we won't add. And now our collectibles, really simple. I'm going to delete all of that. I'm going to export a variable lives. So the body entered connect. I'm going to connect this to an on body entered function. So let me just create that on body entered, and this will receive an argument. And I'm going to say if our body is a player, then say also if our body dot player's health is less than the players, that is the body, max health. I want to say body dot extra live, which we're going to declare in our player, and we'll pass the lives as an argument. And I'm going to say call item collected. Let me save this. Copy that, head to our player. Let me create the extra life function. This receive an argument. So I'm going to say value, don't void say player's health plus equals value. Then just like they take damage, we'll first store the player's health, and next I'm going to emit the health change signal. Okay, this should be cool. Let me just instance our cherry so we can use that to test if it works. Let me try that. Oh, also forgot the animated sprite 2D, so we need to do that real quick. And drag. Okay. Let me just increase that a little bit. Okay, I think this is cool. Yeah. So next off, I have to add forgot to add is collision shape. So let me quickly do that. Okay, now let me head back to our scene and test this out. And if I were to, run or collide with cherry, I'm not supposed to take any health since my health is still full, which works. Now I'm going to jump on this and fill my health, which also works. I think that's supposed to be 3. Oh, okay, so you could see we have a little bit of problem which we'll have to fix, and that shouldn't be hard. But basically the problem is whenever we jump on the spikes, we're actually landing on 2 spikes. So that was, we're at the middle, so we were taking damage from 2 spikes at the same time. That is why our health is reducing twice. And to fix that, we're just going to say if not damage taken. So if our player hasn't taken damage, then we could deal damage to our player. But if he has not, but if he has taken damage, then this is just going to leave that function. Okay, we're going to say not take damage taken, and let me declare this variable for damage taken with bool, and let's just test this out. Yeah, so as you can see, it works now, but the problem is we don't take damage anymore, and this should just be a quick fix. It's not actually no problem. And what we want to do now is I'm just going to go for something simple. So when our players take damage, I want to set its physics process to false and play its animated sprite. So I'm just going to play its hurt animation. Instead it's false. Okay. Now if I jump, yeah, super cool. So our player just hangs up there. You could probably do something like making your player fall. I think most people do that, but I won't work on that for this tutorial. I'm working with time. Let's see. So I'm going to clear a function revive, which we're going to use to revive our player when it's hurt. Set its global position to its start position. For now, I'm just going to say its start position vector 2, and the start position is just going to be wherever our player is at the start of the game. So just say start position is equals to get global, global position is what I'm to write. Okay, let me just sure to drag our player. Okay, now back to our revive. I'm going to say set process, or first let me play is idle. Then I'm not going to say damage taken, set that to false, and I'm going to set physics process also to false. True. For our player, I'll need to add a timer. So this will be like our revive timer, and we need that to revive timer. Going to set is waste time to 2 seconds, and toggle on is on one shot. Let me look through this. I'm going to say if player health is less than or equals to 0. Well, I think that it's supposed to be greater than 0. Then I'm going to say revive dot I'll need to drag or probably they'll say revive timer dot start. Going to connect its timeout signal. And on timeout, we want to call, our revive function. Let's just paste that up and test our scene. Run this again. And I'm just going to super cool. So our player revives. I'm going to take another health, so that works too. And revive. Let me just so I guess our player isn't going to revive, which means everything works perfectly. What we're going to work on now is our coin. Going to let me create a new scene. So inherit from base collectibles. And I'm going to add or extend a script. Okay. Okay, I'll just delete all that and I'm going to export a variable coin value, which is going to be the value of our coin. I'm going to call the func ready function. I think probably everything right here, paste, so they're just the same. Just going to copy that. So on gem collected, I'm going to call the item collected function and emit our coin collected signal. So coin collected, and I'm just going to pass the coin value. Let's go to our head of display and what we're going to do is just connect the coin collected signal, and we're just going to add it the coin, whatever value, to the total coin in our upload. So on coin collected, on coin collected is going to So event dot total coin, and our coin collected receives a value. So plus equals value. Okay. Now let me just drag this here, and I'm going to say dot text is equals to modulo the event dot total coin. Awesome. Let me just change this to 0. Okay, test this out. Think let me just confirm all this is set up properly. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to instance the diamond, the gem. Oh, need to add his animated sprite. Okay, to his folder. Let me just zoom in here so we can see this beautiful gem. And okay, run our scene. Nice. And gem isn't working. What could be the problem? Okay, seems like he had a collision shape. Resize this here. Let's test this out. Hopefully this works, and it doesn't. Let's go check out what's wrong with it. Okay, so we got some errors. Okay. Okay, awesome. So we got our gem working. So nice. Welcome back to this tutorial. And in the previous section, we worked on coin, that's a gem, and HUD, the cherry, and man. Alright, so that should be a quick fix. Hopefully not something too hard. Just go into our player, and if I take damage, I'm going to say if body, just like our Opossum. Let me just go there and copy this Mm, going to change this to less than. Yep. And let me check this out. Going to get rid of this extra if. Okay, now let's test this. Okay, I say it's nice. What we're going to do now is add like word collision. So where we want our player to be able not to move, just like left, and also when our player is falling downward, we want to do damage to the player so it can revive again. I'm going to add a node, drag this up, rename this to world boundaries. Nice. Add a static body 2D and a collision shape. Okay, now this is going to be a new world boundary shape 2D. Okay, so you could see it right here. Let me just drag. Try repositioning. Then make sure the layer is set to 1. You could toggle off max. And I'm going to rotate this now. 90. Now let's test this out. Okay, super awesome. You see our player can't go past that limit. Was edge. Let me just rename this. Wall boundary left, duplicate, wall boundary right. Now I'm going to rotate. Yeah. Position that well. And let's test out our scene. Okay, I'll just need to drag our player over here. And nice. Okay. Then I'm going to duplicate this one more time. And rename this. Okay, I think our instance, our hitbox, I think that's the right one. And I'll just put its damage. No, yeah. So collision layer, put it to the player HurtBox and enemy HurtBox. So in case both either the enemy or the player falls, they will be damaged, they will be dealt damage. Okay, let me just drag that right here. Think this cool. Let me. Okay. And we drop, you see our player sort. Awesome. Okay. Now I'm going to add in my 2D. Reposition this. I think I'm going to delete this my 2D. Then for our camera, I'm going to set its limits. So I think let's do that. Go to limit, set that to 0 to the left. I'll draw top. Can see that. I'll do right. Okay, let me zoom in there. And lastly, bottom. Okay, just a little bit above the word boundary for the bottom. So 600. Smooth and on. Enable that. And let's see. Okay, let's test our game out. Okay, well, we could see our sprite a little, so I'll just adjust that. And just check this a little bit. Cool. And yeah, awesome. See, so you see our player revives there. Okay, now let me just see if I can rearrange our scene. I will move camera up there. Let me see if there's anything for us to do. Our player should be at the top, so that should be displayed above every other coin, gem, and cherry. Yeah, I think it's cool. So what I'm going to do now is start designing our level. And you know, I have this asset. I think that is a prop. Let me just check our assets in. So you could use that to also design your level. Yeah, so this is it. I'm zooming. So you could make use of this to design your level with the other assets in your tile map. Let me just add this tile map tile set, and I'm going to drag this right here and click on yes. And now we can start painting and designing our level. So let's get to work. Okay, I'm done designing mine. Hope you had fun designing yours, and I'll see you in the last section of this video. Okay, welcome back, and as you can see, we have this very beautiful main screen right here, and you could check it out in the end file from the project linked below. And we can see a lot of cool stuff, and let's check out our fader. And you can see our fader is pretty simple. Change the color to that, and we modulate its transparency so that we could fade it whenever we call the fade screen function. But again, let me just play that. Okay, so you see we have a very beautiful animation, and if I tap escape, our screen fades and it quits. And let me play that again. Okay, so we have our animation, and I'm going to press enter, and you see, so it loads our game. And one thing you might happen is probably your Opossum doesn't move at the start of your game. And okay, this is just the functionality for the descent. And so what you just gotta do is add a velocity. So something you could go for something like this, though your Opossum will always face the right, which I think I mentioned previously, or both colliders and detected at the start of the game. So I designed my level, pretty cool. I added this box, and I'll explain more of that later on. So I'll stomp, and everything is pretty much working perfectly. Okay. So you can see I have also added a movable platform. And if you want to add this to your own, I have another great tutorial, which I'm going to link in the description. And you could also see more of that at the end of this video. Okay. Now what we want to work on is, our level transition. And first off, we're going to build like a house for our players so that it could transition to, our level 2. But first off, let me just copy some of this from our level 1, like our world boundary. I think that's important. Camera 2D, our player, our background, canvas. And I think that is all. So Control C and right click and paste. Cool. Now I'm just going to reposition this, which you could do that yourself. So let me start with the world boundary. So just going to toggle on the snap and move this right here. Okay, I'm going to change the limits of our camera, right? Let's think the top is pretty cool. Let me adjust our player. Okay, I'm not really going to design this level. So going to add an area 2D. So we're going to build like a house, like a save point. A save point? Just let's say a house where whenever our player collides, he moves on to the next level. So say safe house. Add a sprite 2D. And let's just go to our assets. On the props, I think it should be there. Yeah, see, that's our house. Going to drag that. Now, so the door is closed. I'm going to add another sprite 2D and I'm going to drag our door open and just reposition that. Okay, now let me just adjust that so it snaps perfectly. And I'm going to add a collision shape. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Let me just add one more canvas layer and our fader. So, you know, our screen just fade before we enter the level 2. Add a script. And this is just going to be pretty simple. So we're just going to detect if we've collided with a player, then we just transition to the next level. So I'm going to export a next level, which is a string. And I'm going to change the collision. So we're just going to max for our player. We're just going to be monitoring and connect the body entered signal. And I'm going to say if our body is player, then I want to say canvas layer, so fader slash fade, let's go next level, fade screen, and I'm going to say true and call this callable function, and let's just define that right here. So func change level, so we're just going to get 3 Good. Change scene to file. Next level. And now I'm just going to do a configuration warning in case our next level is empty. Okay, so it's empty, else will return an empty string. Nice. Now let me just add instance that's on our level 1 scene. Drag that. Let me move my player downward so that our player is displayed on top of the house instead of behind. And oh, we forgot to set the next level. I probably should have just used a packed scene. I think that would have been better instead of using a string. I'll probably just change that in the end file folder. So you could just see all the changes. And nice. So everything works. And you could just design your level. We can't job that you probably need to add, props. So I pretty suggest you go watch that tutorial. I'm just going to drag this here and make sure it snaps perfectly on the floor. Just adjust a little. Okay, nice. Let's run that again. And okay, that works. Jump. Okay, beautiful. Well, that shouldn't be a problem. I think that should just be the move speed of our frog. Yeah, so I'm correct. You can add even more cool tricks to help spice up your game, like smooth camera transition, ladder, and a whole lot more. You can click the video being hovered where you learn how to create platforms your player can interact with. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.